All right. Coach Jason Capson here, and have I got a story for you. So this all kind of began about a month ago. Actually, it's more than a month. It's about a month and a half ago. I went and I cracked a tooth. It was an upper back tooth that I had a filling in, and there was a little hairline kind of a fracture, and I was kind of scheduled to go in and get a crown put on it. And before that could happen, I cracked the tooth. So went into the dentist, and he extracted the tooth. It was a tough extraction in his words. There were deep roots. I'm old. It was up in there. It's an upper tooth, so there was some roots and some things going on. Anyways, pulled it out. Everything seemed to be fine. Everything seemed to be okay, and I left. And the sutures came out relatively quickly, and unbeknownst to me, it didn't heal. It didn't heal properly. There was a hole leading from my sinus into my mouth. So the hole, like where your upper tooth is, it goes into your sinus. Anyways, there was a hole there. And didn't really pay much attention to it. Didn't really notice anything other than when I was rinsing with mouthwash every once in a while, it would come out my nose. Thought that was a little bizarre. Thought that was a little strange. Hey, it's me. There's just weird things that happen in my life. This last year has been absolutely bizarre when it comes to my health and wellness. So this is the reason I'm doing this video, is because I don't want anybody to go through what I just went through. And if I can help somebody, that's why I do all these videos. I do these videos because I want to help people. And my experiences seem to be very unique in some cases. I know I'm not the only one that goes through these kinds of things, but it just seems to be this snowball effect that's been going on lately. So anyways, long story long, I get a sinus cold. I get this sinus cold, and I don't get sick as a rule. Knock on wood. I generally don't get sick. I had a little bit of not a sinus cold. I had a little bit of a sinus issue. It was a little stuffy. I could feel it in the pressure in my forehead. Your sinus. And so I started taking the Tylenol, sinus and cold, whatever. And it was fine. Everything seemed to be fine. And then all of a sudden, I started to have this taste in my mouth. And it was disgusting. Like, I'm just going to be flat out honest. I know this is gross, but it was vile. It was nasty. Stuff was pouring out of my sinus through the hole in my teeth, in my head, and into my mouth. It was disgusting. It was just disgusting. So I thought, okay, well, that's not normal. So I kind of just ignored it. I just thought it would go away, and I would, brush my teeth 10 times a day and mouthwash and all that good stuff. And it didn't work. So the morning of the incident, I woke up feeling great. Aside from this the taste in my mouth, I was feeling fine. And this is a month and a half after the tooth was extracted. Now, come to find out, again, hindsight's a great thing, but come to find out that there was an infection, which explains a lot, right? There was an infection in my sinus, and it was caused by, this hole in my tooth and the sinus, and that taste that I was tasting was basically infection. And it was slow moving, and I woke up about a week ago, just over a week ago, I guess now. No, it was last week, and I was feeling great. Drove to work, and when I pulled into the driveway at work, I could feel my heart just pounding. Now, I had taken 2 of the sinus and cold pills, and there's pseudoephedrine in those pills, and I thought maybe it was the ephedrine that was causing my heart to race a little bit. And I went to get out of the car, and it was a little bit dizzy, and it's not. I know that's not normal, but it was, I just figured I'd walk it off, and I thought maybe I had a sugar crash or something like that, and I was going to eat some food and everything was going to be great. I get into the office and I looked on my watch. I wear this Apple Watch, And my normal resting heart rate is 64. It's 63, 64 on a regular basis. And it was 133. 133. I figured, okay, something's up there. That's not normal. I'm just going to sit and rest and relax. And I went to 2 meetings. I had 2 meetings that morning. I did the meetings, and I went back to my office, or I was in my office, but I went back to work. And after the meetings, and I started to feel real nauseous, like I was going to throw up. I didn't throw up, but felt like I might. And my heart rate just wouldn't come down. It was hovering. It came down from 133, but it was hovering around 122, 123 in that range. And again, that's double what it normally is. So I decided I better go home and rest. So I left work and went home and laid down for a bit, just hoping that just lying down would help. Maybe I needed some sleep. I ate some food. Anyways, it wasn't working. My heart rate stayed between 110 and 122 the whole day until eventually my wife said, we're calling 811. Now, I am probably what a lot of people out there would call a typical man, in that I'm not a big fan of doctors and hospitals, and I don't have health issues as a rule until this past year. So I called the doctor, or we called 811, and gave her the symptoms, told her what was going on, and she said, no, you need to get to the hospital. We don't mess around with hearts. Let's just make sure that everything, let's get to the hospital. So I go to the hospital. I could do a book. I could do a book on my experience at this hospital. I waited in the waiting room for 5 hours. The things that I saw, the things that I heard in those 5 hours in the waiting room, absolutely mind-blowing. Finally got in, and the doctors hooked me up to the machines, and my heart rate was still at 120 something. It wasn't coming down. They asked all the questions. They took a bunch of blood, did all the things. I ended up staying. I thought I was going home. Like, I thought, okay, check it, give me a pill, whatever, I'll go home. No, they hooked me up, and I was in the ER, the emergency room right outside the nurse's station in the ER for 4 days. There was no room in the hospital. There was no beds in the hospital because I had to be hooked up to the machine. They did the ECGs. I had a stress test. I had echocardiogram. I had a MRI. I had a what they give to babies. They ultrasound. I did an ultrasound on my heart. I had this thing that they shoved in my mouth, down my throat to check it. All of it. I can tell you this: I didn't sleep for 4 days because you can't sleep in the ER, and every 2 hours someone's coming and taking blood. Every 2 hours someone's coming in. It was mind-blowing. But I will say this, and I've said this in past videos: nurses are my heroes. The abuse that nurses put up with in the ER and in the hospitals is absolutely mind-blowing, and I love nurses. Like what nurses do is absolutely incredible, and you just can't even imagine. It's unbelievable the amount of abuse that they take from people in general while they're there trying to help us, trying to help heal us, trying to fix us, and they are completely overwhelmed. They're completely overworked. They're completely understaffed, underappreciated. And I can tell you this, I'm going to give enough appreciation for everybody because it's absolutely incredible what these nurses do and wake up every day and come back for more. It's absolutely incredible. Tip of the hat to all nurses. It's not something, I don't think it's anything that anybody wants to do. It's a calling. Like you're called to it. It's just something that's inside of you to do what they do. And I was treated absolutely incredibly well. The nurses were amazing. The doctors were amazing. They had four cardiologists working on me, trying to figure out exactly what was what and what was going on. Long story long, this watch basically saved my life. If I didn't have this watch on and didn't see what my heart rate was at, I probably would have just tried to sleep it off. I probably just would have ignored it. I kept an eye on it, and I knew there was something up, and got into the hospital and just basically got the care that I needed. Turns out that inside this hole in my mouth, there was a little piece of root that was left behind unbeknownst to the dentist, to me, to anybody. And that root got infected. So the tooth came out in pieces, and there was a root. There's still a root in there right now. And it got infected, and the infection traveled from my sinus. It was in my tooth, and went to my sinus, and then eventually made its way to my heart. So the infection was attacking my heart, which sent my heart rate through the roof. I was immediately put on antibiotics when I forgot to mention that part. I was on antibiotics when I went to the hospital because of this vile taste in my mouth. The dentist said, yeah, we should probably get you on antibiotics. A month and a half later, got on the antibiotics. It started to work. My heart rate went down to 115, went down to 110, went down to 100, went down to 99, 80. Now, again, today it's at 61 to 64. So the antibiotics are definitely doing the job, but this tooth extraction led to an infection that was attacking my heart. So freaky thing, doesn't happen a lot. Apparently it's very, very rare. Shocking. Welcome to the life of Jason Capson. Tuesday, I'm going into the oral surgeon. He's cutting this open, going inside, scraping out the infection. Sounds lovely. Can't wait for that. Going to pull out the root that's left in there, clean it all up, sew it back up. He said there's going to be, in his words, a lot of stitches inside my face. And then it's going to be a couple of days, 2 or 3 days of healing, painkillers, all that fun, good stuff. They're putting me to sleep, thank goodness for that. But the moral of this story is, don't take your health for granted. Even if you get this is from a tooth extraction. This tooth extraction landed me in the hospital and could have cost me my life if it wasn't for my Apple Watch. If it wasn't for the nurses and the doctors and the experts that were taking amazing care of me. And even though we might complain about the healthcare system in Canada, the long waits and stuff, I can tell you for a fact that it is absolutely incredible, and I wouldn't give it up for the world. So thank you to the doctors, thank you to the dentist, thank you to the oral surgeon, thank you to the nurses especially, and thank you to my wife. God love her. This was the week of the wedding. The wedding was on Sunday, and I was in the hospital that whole week. And she was taking care of everything. She was getting ready. She was getting prepared. She was taking care of her kids. She was taking care of the family, taking care of the wedding plans, taking care of It was unbelievable what she had to deal with while I was laid up in the hospital. So there you go. Take care of your health, because it really is the most important thing that you have. Take care of your health. Make sure you're thorough. If you get a tooth pulled, ask for antibiotics just as a precaution. If anything, make sure the whole thing is out. Make sure there's no roots left up in there. It can lead to some bad things. So this last year has been a challenge when it comes to my health. Tuesday, surgery. The week after that, I am hoping to finally get back on track and get back to the healthiest version of myself. Take care, guys. Check out the links below. If you need some programs, you need some guidance, you need some help when it comes to health and wellness, believe it or not, I am an expert when it comes to health and wellness and fitness and nutrition. It's just that, sometimes your body takes a beating. Sometimes things happen that are out of your control. But by the grace of God, because I am strong and healthy and eat pretty good most of the time and drink the water and get some exercise in, my body was able to heal, and it is able to heal through all of this stuff that has happened to me over the last year. If I was unhealthy, who knows what would be going on right now. So I thank God for my health, and I thank you for tuning in. Spread this to people, share the love, press the like, press the little bell thing, do all that stuff. Because I think this message is going to help someone. It could help save somebody's life, hopefully. Well, not hopefully. I hope nobody is at risk. But if it can help save somebody, if it can help give somebody some information or answer some questions, then that's a good thing, right? Take care, guys.